Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. While here in Wonderland, we're going to discuss topics and share stories to help clear up the distorted views of relationships. We provide a safe place for balanced and honest conversation. While each episode can help all who listen, the focus will be on the community of color. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. All right, everybody, welcome to the last episode of season 4. Cannot believe we're at the end of season 4 already. And as we go into the last episode of season 4, the topic fits perfectly. We're going to be talking about the art of saying goodbye, because it kind of is. It's kind of an art to it. There's kind of a technique or a skill, you would think, because there's people who can't do it. There's individuals who don't know how to do it, and I don't think there's necessarily a way to break up with people. But before we jump into that topic, we're gonna go around the crew and just check in with everybody. So, how you been, Chris?
Been all right. A lot. You know what I'm saying? Better. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. How you been, Marcus?
Been good. Been a good week. Things trying to work out. It's pretty good.
Wonderful. And Miss Keisha, how you been, Keisha?
I'm doing really good. I'm having a pretty decent week. So far, so good.
Everybody's doing good. Great, wonderful. Goodbye. Have you ever met somebody who can't do it? Have you ever met somebody whose breakup technique sucks? I know I have.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We'll talk about it, Marcus.
I mean, I can talk about myself, but it's just.
Oh, let's get some tea.
I mean, I think the wrong way to do it is ghosting. I think that's the wrong way to do it. Just totally disappear. I feel like that's the wrong way to do it. You miss out. I don't know. I don't agree with closure. I'm kind of in between with closure, getting closure and stuff like that. But I do believe ghosting is not a good way to do it.
What does closure mean to you? Because I think that means different things to different people.
I think so. I mean, I guess closure to me means, I guess just wanting to know. I guess wanting to know why or what happened, or just getting that final, goodbye or something like that, or final, moment. I think that may be what closure may be, in my opinion.
Okay. Says the man who sucks at breaking up.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think closure is a requirement. I think somebody's disrespect is all the closure that's needed. But I guess, again, people have different definitions on closure and if it's even needed. Chris, when you hear the term closure, and before we get into your definition of closure, are you good at breaking up or are you not?
Oh no, I ain't breaking up. No, I just want to say if you don't hear from me from a couple of days, just know it's over.
So what Marcus just said about ghosting, you just said that's what you do.
Yes, we've had this conversation multiple times. I will ghost you. Just call me the magic man. Now you see me, now you don't.
Wow.
But sometimes when we dish that, when we dish it and it comes back to us, we have a harder time with handling it when it's brought back to us. Or for the two of y'all, I mean, is it okay when someone does it to you? Are you okay with that? Do you handle it the same way you dish it?
I think it depends on what connection was there. If it was like I haven't had it happen, but if it was like a deep connection or something like that, or then yeah, it probably would bother me a good bit, especially if make phone calls and don't get a reply or anything like that. And So yeah, probably would bother me, for a little bit, especially if it's, done to me. And yeah, I think I have a bad effect on me.
Is that your ego though?
Nah, because I had a connection.
So it's okay if you do it, but not to somebody else.
Well, I mean, if somebody do it to me,
that's what I'm saying. It's
if
okay
gonna
for you to ghost somebody, but you don't want it done to you.
I never said that. I didn't say that. I just said I answered the question is if it was done to me. You can't say what people gonna do. True. So if they do it, they do it. It ain't like I, saying for to do it. So somebody chooses to ghost me, they ghost me. I just have to react to it accordingly.
And Chris, how about you? Somebody that you have a connection with ghosts you. What do you do?
I don't know. I've never had someone that I had like a connection with ghost me. Now I've had people that I might have been like kicking it with, but it was like never got to that deep connection level. Ghost me. Had them ghost me. But I mean, after it's just like, hey, look, man, just those. I guess they won't feel it no more. I mean, that's they are entitled to their like actions. I'm not going to say, hey, why did you do this? Because I mean, I'm not someone that really needs closure. I mean, because I've said it in the past, like everyone doesn't need to get that closure and know why things didn't work. A lot of times when people do break up or split, they already know. They know that it's coming. It's just when it's going to be final. So like I don't think anybody's ever been surprised at it. I mean, now maybe like far as the ghosting, I might be surprised at it, but then you still might, after thinking about it, might know, hey, this might be what it is. But I can't speak for them. I can just speak on my part.
You're talking about yourself though, right? And no one's ever been surprised it was coming.
Probably not, no. Because like I mean, I'm gonna eventually like start like doing less and like do a little bit less of the communicating. And so it's like, okay, you might not hear from me as much. So it's just like I don't just cut them off cold turkey. That'd be pretty harsh, but I just wean them off.
Do you think you are pretty efficient when you're breaking up with somebody or when you're leaving the situation?
Yes, for the most part. Now, it may not be as friendly. All depends. I do agree with Chris. I feel like I can see it coming. If it's a breakup that's on this way, I can tell whether I'm going to break up with the person or they're going to break up with me. But yeah, in the past, I've always stated to the person the reason why I felt like we needed to break up. My issues with the situation. I tried to be transparent and look at my flaws or my wrongs in the relationship too, and address those as well. So, yeah.
I have a different experience. There has not been, I think there's been one breakup that there was like a gut cry, like came out of nowhere. All the other ones, I would say my marriage was a slow bleed out. But that was, I initiated that. And then I can't say there was like a finality to the relationship afterwards, but then the relationship after that, there was a huge finality, right? So it's for me, I guess it's a different experience either way. And even though the one that caught me off guard, yeah, there was elements where smoke signals were coming up and then, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation. And that's one thing about me. I'm gonna tell you, if I'm picking up something's off, if I'm picking up your behavior's changing, or if I'm feeling a bit disrespected, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm not the one that's gonna be like, well, let me just watch it and let it whatever. No, right when I see it, I'm gonna talk about it. So For the most part, like you did say, Chris, you kind of see something's off, but at the same time, I think too, it really comes down to the transparency in the other person. And then is it really a breakup? Like the last week's episode, sometimes you're in a dynamic where you know, okay, we're not talking for the next few months, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking again. So in that regard, that comes back to, do you know how to say goodbye? Do you know how to disconnect with somebody? And if I ask you guys this question, okay, so somebody that you were kicking it with, whatever, it didn't work out that way. And I guess this can also go back to being friends with exes. And I know people have different feelings about that. But at the same time, is that a version of not being able to say goodbye if you remain friends with the next? Or is it just a transformed relationship? Because I think it's just a transformed relationship. But in that episode that we had a year or so back, people had their own opinions.
But I think for as friends with your ex, it depends on like what are the boundaries? If there's boundaries and there's, I mean, because like I said, if it was someone, if you guys were friends before, and then you have this, it turns into a romantic relationship. And then if it's not, I mean, a lot of times when you have that friendship beforehand, before the romantic relationship, a lot of those breakups are kind of mutual breakups. So at the end, you might not go back to being the same type of friends, but you're still going to have that friendship bond. It might not be as close as it was before the romantic part, but you're still going to have those boundaries. So I think as long as you have healthy boundaries, I don't see an issue with it.
Is that could that be also though an example of somebody not willing to completely let something go because they want to maintain the friendship?
Yeah, you want to maintain the friendship that you had beforehand. Hey, like we weren't compatible romantically, but you still are a good friend to me, and I want to be a good friend to you, and we can go from there.
And there's never mind. Yeah, I was about to go into a whole nother area, so I won't though. So what? Is that person somebody who is break in case of an emergency?
What you mean?
See, but that's why I know. But I know what she means. But that's why I say you gotta have those boundaries.
Yeah, I think that's where the boundaries play a role.
Yeah, you gotta have those boundaries.
Because if it's gonna be strictly a friendship, then it's a friendship. If you don't go from romantic back to friendship, yeah, I think it has to stay at friendship.
Because I know I can speak personally from experiences of things like that, and it's like, hey man, no, like we can't do that, because once you do that, the emotions you're not going to be able to just have it be okay, well, we're just doing this one time and that's it. No, because then that's going to open up that's going to open up I don't want to say wounds, because that sounds real negative, but it's going to open up those old feelings once you get there. And then you're like, hey, well, maybe we can make this work again. And that's how I do it. They just creep back in. Next thing you know, you find yourself back in a relationship with that person.
I think that's depending on the personality.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the personality. Like there's exes that I look at and I'm like, we are never walking that road again, ever, ever, ever.
Is it for sex, never walk that road again, or relationship?
Right. Yeah, sex.
We're talking about sex right now. Like that's what the whole in case of emergency break glass. Because everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody. Most people have an in case of an emergency break glass people. I don't know. And is that another way, a version of not being able to say goodbye too? It's like, you know what? You suck as a human, but in other areas you're useful. And if you can keep, I know that sounds so damn
straight tool.
Literally.
But I mean, some dudes is fine with that though. And if the dude is fine with that, then what's the problem?
Look, man, have some respect, man. That's true. Have some goddamn respect. I'm sorry.
Look, but have you truly let go?
I mean, like,
I think it depends on the person. Like, I
So
can be disgusted with you as a human, but if you're being utilized as a tool, I could care less about your humanness.
really?
I can't.
I'm joking. I'm
can't do
joking.
that.
This is a
No, you're
joke.
not.
This
I
is a
can't do
joke.
that either.
No, I
So-
can't do that because
I'm not trying to get no
disgusted
demon.
at you as a person,
I'm
but yet I'm gonna
joking.
split
It's
you
a
open.
joke. Oh my gosh.
Not gonna be able to do it.
My feelings gonna get involved.
Oh, these feelings, man.
Feelings.
I don't
So,
know.
Is it letting go though? Is that truly letting go though?
Nah.
I think it can be. Depends on the person. You got some really cold-blooded people out here.
That real?
True.
You got some cold-blooded
Emotionless.
people.
No emotions.
Yeah, are the emotions are just cut off to that person moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have access to that set of emotion anymore. However, but at the but again, that's a whole nother conversation, right? Because you got the conversation where, okay, cool, we can get good, we're friends, we're going to maintain our boundaries, life is great, high five. And then you got the ones who are like, you know what, I'll call you when I need you, and when I don't need you, I don't see you, you don't see me.
Just for that moment.
Yeah, like, it's just what it is. Like, it's, I know you, you know me. I don't have to deal with the whole getting to know somebody else and blah, blah, blah. It's just a means to an end. You're a means to an end.
So how do you let go of that?
We find somebody else. Let me start with sounding like a whole
horrible
dude. I'm just joking.
Wow. Like, yo, I mean, because if I had said that, good God Almighty, if I had said that,
Chris face.
Say it.
I mean,
Chris. Just say it.
It's my, but the thing is, it's mind blowing hearing a woman say that. But the crazy thing is, there's lots of women who think like that nowadays, and I'm like, yo, like, when did that become acceptable?
Because it's the ones who freaking keep being vulnerable to the wrong person, and then it gets to the point of saying, you know what, I make myself happy. I don't need you for that. I just need you for this. So play your role, play your part, and then we won't have a problem.
Man, I don't know. Look, man, well, you need to go to the, know what I'm saying, store and get you some toys.
But like Keisha said, sometimes you want a hug.
I'm not a machine. Like, yo, man,
it's just like what we was talking in the last episode about how you know yourself and you love yourself and you don't want anybody in that space. And you know this person, but you know that person ain't good in your space, but they good for other things. You just use it for that.
And then they leave my space.
And then you leave on face, so you still have your space. I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? As far as like that, you know what I'm saying? But it is people out there, and it's a lot of men and women out there that just want that one thing and then just want to go back to they prospective places. They just want that.
Now, I'll agree with you, Chris, in the space of there has to be a complete cut off emotionally from the person. Like, I would not recommend that setup with somebody you have lukewarm feelings with, or even friendly feelings with. I agree with you on that. It would have to be somebody that you kind of don't like.
No, but it's still that energy.
But how can you sleep with somebody you really don't like?
Yeah, that energy transfer is still going to be there.
I can't sleep with somebody I really don't like, and I ain't feeling, because I'm just.
I like you for this moment. I like you for this time frame. But after this, we're not going to talk. We're not going to go out. We're not going to share experiences. This is just a long time ago. This is not me now.
Sounds like
thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, this is not me now. This is back when I was in the military. And it's really a means to an end.
Yeah.
It's kind of like looking at the person. I'm good. Like, I don't need you for anything else other than this. So let's do this. And then you go on about your way. And that's where the whole me never having titles with people came in, because when you put a title on something, there came responsibilities with that title. There came expectations.
So that made it easy to let go.
Yeah, because you never really were all in.
Because there's no titles there. So you just let go. As soon as you've done whatever you've done and whatever, it's easy to let go because there were no titles there.
There was no, it was that there were no titles, but I was never all in.
But I think
never all in. So it makes it easier to leave.
Yeah. And I think that was like I guess I would say in my young life it was like that as well. It's just, but I wasn't, I didn't have no military background, but it was more like I'm just here. Yeah, because I'm pretty old right now. But are you saying
that took him a moment, Chris. It took him a little bit. Wow.
Never mind. I would say I was okay, never mind. Oh, whatever. I would say it's just like now, and I mean not now, but somewhere in my past. it's just more like
you don't know what to say. He's all flabbergasted.
Yeah, you messed him up.
he just needs to stop talking,
man. Good, go.
I lost my train of thought.
What you say, Keisha? Help him out here because he's struggling.
I need you to repeat where we at right now.
We letting go. We just trying to let go because I think what Michelle's saying, like she never was all in, and that it was like simpler for her to like have, go out there and do what she had to do. But as far as like making a commitment, there was never a commitment there, so it's easier to let go.
Right.
Okay, so for me, if it was somebody that I was dating and we were in a committed relationship, I couldn't like retract and just go and have sex with that person because I'm having a vulnerable moment without having that emotional connect again. But if it was somebody that I was just kicking it with, and I knew it from the beginning, this was not something that was going to go anywhere. It was just going to be strictly, we just going to kick it. If we hook up, we hook up. If we don't, we don't. Then I would be okay with that. But I couldn't with somebody who, I had an emotional connection at some point with. I couldn't do that.
And that makes sense. And I think that's why I purposely kept stuff at surface level. I think I was even, this is a very honest statement, but I was surface level through my whole marriage. And that might have, I'm just being honest. It was a trauma response. My mom had just passed and I was just running on straight trauma. And that conversation came up near the end. But if my mom was still alive, I probably would have never got married. Making it, maybe that was what made it easier for when their marriage ended. I didn't shed one tear. And that was 15 years.
Michelle, I'm thinking counseling.
I'm good. Because the one after, Jesus. So that made up for the 15 the relationship after
definitely need counseling now after the one after.
Jesus. So but that was the whole situation of being vulnerability. And going my majority of my life in that space of just response, in that space of being surface level, then to allow somebody to get under the surface was terrifying. And those are the areas where it's hard to release because they've then seen parts of you that no one else has, literally and figuratively. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like crap. Like I was vulnerable with this person. This person saw me at 100%. That's somebody that I would not be able to have ongoing intimate relationships with. The one where vulnerability was crossed. Where vulnerability was not crossed, and I was a character for whomever I was with, I'm good because they weren't getting who I was. They were getting the smart ass, they were getting the sarcastic, they were getting the laughy, make jokes, but they never got me. They never got the anxiety ridden, the one who always questions what she does. Am I doing it right? They never got that. So I think for me, it's easier to let go when they never had me at 100%. It's when that vulnerability level got crossed. That's where the challenge came in for me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's mildly
No, I
uncomfortable.
mean I agree. I think when you go all in with the relationship, that it's harder to let go. Because of all the revealing that took place and the conversations and just being able to be real vulnerable and let them know those 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 dark thoughts, the secrets, whatever that was being told. So it's harder um to let go of a person like that.
Right. They saw you at your lowest, at your
Yeah,
weakest,
yeah,
at your most vulnerable. And
and
then,
and all those emotions.
right, especially with somebody who is prides herself on not being the emotional type, right? So
Yeah.
it's it's harder to let those areas go. So I guess the question would be for
How you
you
let it
all,
go?
what?
No, go ahead.
I don't forgot what I was about to say. You freaking messed me up. So the question would be for the times where so you had a situation where you had to let go. You didn't want to, or it was hard, but you had to. What did you do? What did you do? And was it successful?
I agreed to walk away and just dealt with my feelings.
How did you do it?
That was emotional, very emotional. I went through the grieving process from angry, sad, mad, um, disbelief to acceptance. I mean, so yeah.
And you felt
But I
that,
knew it was the best thing for both of us. It
right?
was what was best.
And for the men on the panel, how did you walk away or get into the healing process from a situation that you didn't want to let go?
Mm.
Me, that was when I had started getting counseling and therapy. But it was like, I mean, the things that I normally would do to kind of get over things or just, I mean, I just get over. I would just like out of sight, out of mind, try to not think about it. But it's like everything, it was just a snowball effect, and everything was like going downhill till I finally had to go get professional help.
What part of the snowball going downhill was it? A situation where you noticed and said, okay, everything I'm doing isn't working, or was it more of people coming and telling you? Because I've learned that even though I can tell I'm off on some things, it's when somebody else comes to me and says, I'm noticing yada yada yada. And then I'm like, oh, this must be a bigger issue than I thought it was.
Well, it wasn't anybody because I mean I've always had kind of people like telling me different things. So it's like, all right, whatever. It's just people kind of looking out for my well being. It was just like I couldn't do anything right. And it seemed like everything in my life was like, it was like I had no control. I went from being in full control and everything coming up roses for me to like everything I do is like the wrong thing. And then something else will happen. And then so it was like all of these bad negative things were happening to me where I'm like, look, man, something's not right. And then it started playing with my psyche. And I really felt like I was like losing my mind. And to the point where it's like, look, I have to do something. I have to talk to somebody that can kind of help me out. And then that's when I found out the other things about myself. And then
That's
I was on
awesome.
the road to recovery.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And what about you, Marcus?
I mean, it's I would say my marriage took me a while. Um, it's kind of like what Chris was saying. Like you was trying to do a lot of things that you was trying to do to make it work and it didn't work, and trying to stay in there for the wrong reasons, and just um, just going through the motions. And but you get to a point where you got to get you back in a sense to where you're not feeling um it's about them. But it's like just trying to let go of that person to when you finally realize, we just need to let each other go, let go of the situation altogether. And then also what Michelle was saying, like it's, listening to others, hearing what other people say, and taking in their opinions, and when they see something wrong, which some people never even say something wrong. It's just people out the blue just say something. Hey, I think this ain't where you need to be at, or this ain't the place where you need to be. So it took that and realizing that I was just kind of losing myself. Then you just understand that you just gotta let go of it and just move on.
That's interesting. Because I've had different experiences with having to let go.
Mm-hmm.
In situations where stuff was abruptly ended out of nowhere, like I literally had to hate the person. I literally had to put myself in the space where I was disgusted to even hear that person's name to release it, versus other experiences where it's like, you know what? I have to love you from afar because this is just not healthy. And I think it was a situation of a slow bleed out, right? Like the writing's on the wall, or a situation where you try, and nothing comes from it, and you just agree to go your separate ways. I think that's a little bit more easier to digest because it's a slow type of, a slow release versus, I don't know, somebody cheating and you find out and the whole relationship blows up. So now you go into, I literally have to hate this person. And this is just me speaking. I'm not telling anybody this is a healthy technique, but for me, it worked because it was an immediate type of thing. It's like I had to hate you to really look at myself when you're in that type of situation. So I think that whole letting go thing for me depends on the person, who it was, and how it ended. Like, have you guys ever been in a situation where it ended so painfully, it was easy to let go? Like, I don't want your ass no how. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was easy to let go versus, you both still have emotion for each other, but this just isn't going to work. Well, I got y'all thinking today. Whew.
I got nothing.
So you never had a breakup where the person like destroyed you and you had to move forward from that? Was that an easier process than just knowing that this just isn't going to work out and we're just going to have to go our separate ways?
It's easier when you just got to go your separate ways. Like abruptly, I don't know, I may have been the abrupter, but it was just, and at that time when I did it, it was emotional. But for me, I did not show emotions. It was a lot of stuff that was going on in my mind, or was going on in the background, that I felt like I had to do it because I had to sever, what was going on, just in order just to say, I guess, to save face.
Have you ever, well, this might be taking it off subject. Did you consider that person and protecting that person in the breakup, or was it just all for you?
And it wasn't all for me. It was more like I said, save face. It was more like saving that person for eventually learning everything else that was going on in the background. So it was more like, let me do this, let me be cutthroat, let me show no, so no emotion, just do it, get it over with, and just move on. So it was emotional in the standpoint of it, but to me, I felt like I was doing them a favor because it was an ugly truth that I had behind me. So that was it.
Both men are being so honest tonight.
I know this is awesome.
That sucks. I mean, not that you guys are being on. Never mind. So
no, it's awesome that they're being honest.
Way to ruin the moment, Michelle.
I know it is awesome that they're opening up. Yeah.
Sorry, it was a whole nother experience.
Let me tell you, when men feel like opening up, you don't.
I wasn't saying it to them.
So that
I was
good.
in a whole nother mental space. That sucks was supposed to be in my head.
Oh, okay.
Not out loud.
See how that happens, right? Sometimes it just get in your head and just come out your mouth.
No, I didn't mean it. What? That could have what?
That went a whole lot of places.
I don't know. Thank you.
I'm just saying.
Just making it so more awkward than it had to be.
No, hold up. No, you guys never think something, and as soon as you think it, it just comes out your mouth, and you like,
well, that literally just happened.
Be in my head. It happens to me as well.
Yeah. True.
But Keisha, is it easier for you to move on from somebody when you create a narrative in your head to make them be the villain? And even they might be the villain, but I know I've seen people who will create. I'm the villain in some people's story.
Yeah, if I've created the narrative that they're the villain, or if there actually is the villain, then it's easier to move on. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah,
it's the ones where you're just like, this junk is just not working out. You know, it's just not working out. No one's doing anything evil. No one's doing anything malicious. It's just not working out. I think those are more of a challenge.
I think like with those, I think both people pretty much know it. It's just a part of just saying, you know, even though they're not doing anything on either side, but they just know it just ain't working. And somebody has to make that initial thing to be like, hey, this ain't working. We got to, you know, and I guess cut ties. And I think in those situations, I don't think it's as emotional. It might be, but I don't think it's that emotional. It might be some emotion there, but it's not that emotional because both people generally understand, and I guess they have like an understanding, and they talk it out, and they whatever hug, whatever, and say their goodbyes.
What?
Hug it out. Come on, bring it in. Come on.
Bring it in.
Bring it in. Come on.
Hug. Let's go. Bring it in. Get that last whatever, and move on.
Have you all ever met somebody who just sucked at it? Have you ever had a friend or a family member who just sucked at breaking up? Who just they've been the ones who just are broken up with every time and they can't leave the person alone.
You said can't leave them alone?
Right. They cannot. Every time you're talking to them, they're just kind of just pining over their exes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, dude, it's not working out. Just stop it. And they're just still like, but maybe. Like, what advice do you give those people?
Oh, one.
Tell me that shit. I don't want to hear it.
Oh my gosh, what kind of friend are you?
Oh, the one that's going to be straightforward. Hit you right between the eyes. Shit.
That's not
really.
Yeah. What?
So, Chris.
Oh God.
I mean, but I'm sure you wouldn't want other people to do that to you, though, right? You wouldn't want them to hit you so heavy right in between. You kind of want them to. Rub your
Nope.
hand and kind of
Mm-mm.
hit you in
Nope.
between the eyes, right?
Nope. I'd rather, no, say give it to me straight, no chaser.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make note of that. Okay.
What did I ask for?
So that I don't know what to say.
That's a lie.
That sounds like a threat. That sounds like a threat, but that's cool.
We'll make note of that.
Noted. It's recorded.
But oh boy. But okay. So as we get close to our spot, so if you have somebody who was listening and they were having an issue letting go, what would you tell them?
I don't know. It all depends on the circumstance.
Okay, let the circumstance be the person don't want them. The person don't want them. They made it very clear they don't want you.
Right out.
But they're still having issues letting go. What do you tell them?
I would tell them to, you just gotta suck it up, let it go. As far as like, cut ties and just, surround yourself with friends and family to get over whatever you got to get over.
Okay.
That's what I would tell them.
Keisha, what would you tell somebody who just was having problems and struggles letting go?
If they're a close friend of mine, of course, you walk through situations with your friends, whether it's good or bad. Some of it is, I agree with the cutthroat part that Chris said. And another part of it, you just want to be compassionate and understanding and hearing them out. Helping them to look at the pros and cons of being in that relationship. Help them to see the light. Because sometimes when people are really hurting, they can't take that direct hit. You want to be honest with them, but sometimes you got to soften up your delivery of what you're trying to say because they're already hurting. So it just all depends. Now, if we already had that soft talk a couple of times and it's still happening, I'm the type of person, if I really care about you, I'm going to be honest and tell you, what it is. I'm not going to watch you run into a wall and not say, hey, come on now. You got to have some sense. So I think I would try to be as compassionate and understanding with them as they walk through this. But if they're still talking about the same old thing and this person don't want them, then eventually it's going to come out cutthroat.
And I think for me, it's more of unpackaging why they are wanting to be with somebody who doesn't want them. Because that says more about them than it will ever say about the other person. Having a transparent conversation about why that is. What wounding are you using that relationship for? Is it speaking to your abandonment wound? Is it speaking to your just not feeling good enough wound? Is it speaking to your fear of being alone? Because a lot of times it's not about the person at all. Mm-hmm. I would say almost 85-90% of the time, it's not about the person at all. It's about the person who is not willing to release because there's something going on with them. And I really try to say, okay, let's look at this objectively. Let's look at this from a space of you are the focus. If we remove that person out of the equation 110% or even replace them with somebody else, you're still going to run into those same issues if you don't heal the wounding. If you're looking for new relationships out of that same space, you're going to have the same issue. So I would definitely look into finding out why. Why can't you let that person go? What are they feeding you that you feel you need? Because again, a lot of times it has nothing to do with that person. So if anybody's listening and in that space of not being able to let somebody go, you need to do that inner work to find out why. Because I'm going to tell you, it's going to be more about you than it's ever going to be about that other person. Right. So that's what I would say. And on that note, this is concluding the last episode of season 4. So we are saying goodbye. For a little holiday break. We'll have a little bit of pop-ups here and there, a little countdown, our top 10, our top 5 episodes, little blooper reels that will run. But definitely keep us connected, keep connected to us through the social media platforms, and we'll be back with season 5 in January. Do you guys have anything you want to say to your listeners before we haul off?
Have good holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Chris? Oh my God.
Kwanzaa.
What?
Like
Parsley?
Kwanzaa. Come on now. Don't.
I mean, I don't know. Parsley might be important for you.
Parsley. There we go, man. There we go.
Yeah, everything they said. And if you're somebody who doesn't have the best connection with family and friends, or you go through the holidays and it's not a joyful time, make sure you reach out and talk to people. This time of year can be very stressful, can be very trauma inducing for people. So don't feel that there's not people out here. I mean, you can even reach out to one of us. So I just want to highlight those individuals, because holidays are not the easiest time for a lot of people, especially when there's a lot of grief and just loss around that. So just want to throw that out. And again, yeah, you got something to say, Marcus?
Nah, I just agree with what you were saying. And those people that's in that situation, just if you do get an invite from it might not be your family, if it's from a friend or maybe even a coworker, accept it and go. Just to, you never know, you may have a good time.
Yeah.
So it's
I was gonna say that, like, seasonal depression is real. Right. And a lot of people, like, this time of year around the holidays, especially like if I know it's real hard for a lot of people that's lost loved ones during the holidays, and it's a lot tough times. But I mean, just try not to, like, I ain't gonna say try not to think about it, but try not to, you know what I'm saying, be like in your head about it. Like, go out, like Marcus was saying, if somebody give you an invite to somewhere, go ahead and go out and enjoy yourself and try to kind of get away from it, even though it may be hard to do that.
Right.
Practice self-care too. Plan your day. Do some stuff for yourself instead of just sitting indoors and not doing anything. So now's the time to reflect, because we're at the end of the year. So plan for the next year.
Yeah. If y'all thought I was bad in 2022, man, look. It's gonna be a whole new person in 2023. But anyway, definitely
sounds like a threat.
Oh, it's a threat. It's a promise. I don't threat. If I say it, it's gonna happen. But yeah, we'll be putting mini content out. So just keep checking on us. We'll check in on you guys. And as always, you guys take care, stay safe, and be well.